Hi guys, welcome to my channel. As you can see, my little friend is still alive and well after so many years. So she's always with me when I go to work or vice versa, so she's a great help. Right, this video is about these welders, so we'll get straight to the point. As you know, as people see me on Instagram or whatever, I'm not into unboxing. Anyone can just unbox a unit and that's a cab. Let's put a plug on it. I'm not the sort. People's been asking me what the menus are like, what they look like, because they don't seem to have seen one. Now, all the reviews I've seen with EWM on these on internet, they're certainly a different language than English. Which there's a few good lads in Germany, but it's obviously I need Google Translate, and they don't really go into the menu as such. So I'm about to change that with some of these. So I'm going to do a bit of a series. I've got these two Tetrix, I've got the Pico, and I've got the small DC, got the full lot. But I seem to keep asking the question about how are these welders. Well, my first answer to that is they're ace. You know what I mean? Up to now, I don't think I would go back to any of the ones that I've used before. Granted, they are a bit more money, not as much as what you guys think. Now, if you're interested in one of these, send me an email and I'll certainly give you a quote through my supplier, and you'll be quite surprised how cheap that I can get them. But nevertheless, they are a bit more than the general Chinese shit, what I call it. So we'll get to the point and we'll go through the menu with it, and then obviously if you've got any questions on the emails, we'll go from there. I'm going to go through the menus on this one, and then on part two we'll do a bit of welding with it, and I'll show you the parameters and what you can do. But this will give you an idea of what it has on and what you can adjust. Now obviously with the lighting in the gauge is not great, so you just have to bear with me because the tripod doesn't go at the right angle. So obviously the machine now is in standby because I've left it. So that's your normal basic panel on these. Now I've connected with a foot pedal on this one, so obviously you can see above usual 90-35, but we'll get into that in a minute. So basically your menu buttons at the top there, you've got one to five storage jobs, but you can store more jobs on the USB. Each little section as well, you've got your pre-flow, you've got your tungsten. Obviously you can set that at 50% so it doesn't blow the end off of tungsten straight away. You've got the 30% of that for 0.7 seconds. That's your up slope, that's your down slope. Don't need that because it's connected to the pedal, and that's the basic layout. However, I'm going to go through this because that looks way too complicated for some people, and it doesn't need to be that way. So first of all, we'll click on the menu button, and this is what you get here, and we'll go through them step by step. Like I say, if you've got any questions, obviously let us, you know what I mean, please let me know, like a lot of you do. So the system settings first, so self-explanatory on these. Language, a ton of languages, and I think the latest update has just been released to 1.08. I think it's a couple of weeks ago, which a couple of differences, but these are both on the 1.8s now. So, and I think there was a few languages added. So they're languages. So you've got the operating panel on here, so we'll click on operating panel. So this seems to be a lot, guys, settings, but once you've bunged everything in, it's quite simple. So obviously you got your brightness 60%, that's self-explanatory. You got your home layout. Now on the home layout you've got two different layouts. You've got the layout that I had before, or you can, it basically looks like a bit of a pack of cards. So if we click on that and go back, we've got this here. So if you wish, you can use it that way. Now again, they're in sections because I'm going to show you in a minute that you can delete those sections and make the panel easier for you. So if we go back into the menu, go back to how it was, I just prefer that way. So that's your layout panel. Status bar, time and jaw. When it's in use, you'll see just alters the top of the panel here, and again they've just changed that now on the manual with the latest 1.8. So if you've got a 1.07, you'll find the layout at the top is, I think it is a tad different. You've got display section. Now this is what I was saying before. So each block, when we went through the blocks before, each block is categorized. Now if we turn those off, it disappears. So again, if we go example, we've got there the pre-flow there, which is 0.3. Now if I go to Go to system settings, open panel, display sections, gas P4. Now if I toggle that off, when we go back to the menu, that section is then missing. So you've not a lot to set up. So if you don't want the tungsten start and you don't want it to say 2.4 blah blah blah, XL dynamometer, you can turn that off, and you can make the panel more or less like a basic machine then. So you're not messing around. So you're not overwhelmed with like what looks to be a lot of settings. So you can actually do that. Units, metrics, welding current setting. You've got percentage wise or absolute. I leave it on percentage wise anyway because it doesn't really matter, but the machine works it out for you. And I'll give you an example of this. If we go to example this maximum and minimum amp down here. So if example I'm going to minimize. Now if you look at the top, this says 39%. I'm going to minute, click go back, but it tells me at the top anyway it's 35 amp. Now the other setting you can directly set it at 35 amp. This will give you best of both. So I just leave mine on the percentage. Go back into that. Panel. It does get a bit quicker, guys, in a bit. Hold value TIG. Not so sure what that's for. I'll be quite honest with you. I've had a look. Not so sure. So we'll leave that. I don't want to tell you any wrong information. Time and date, self-explanatory. Set your time and date with it. Power source. Again, you've got ignition, so you can have HF start, you can turn that off, blah, 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 you know what I mean, have it lift. HF entity, you've got standard and you've got reduced. I just leave mine in standard. The reignition, I'll demonstrate what that means. I can demonstrate it rather than kind of use it, pretty much. So I can kind of demonstrate them at a later one. Intensity, soft and hard. I generally have mine on soft unless I'm doing stainless, and then I'll put it on hard. You do tell a massive difference between those two, to be honest. But I can demonstrate those. We've got energy saving, but we've got energy saving function and program mode magic. Again, self-explanatory those. We've got the process. Spotmatic, I'm going to go through that in a minute. That's a different function here. You can have it in pulse. You can have it pulsing in your upslope and your downslope as well in this, which is really good. You can have it automatic gas flow function. I turn mine off because I do that manually, but you can have a good look at what those are, guys. Welding torch, that's your 2 switch. Again, I don't too worry about that. I'll leave it on standard because on the Pico 220. The 2 switches you can actually use them individually. You've got 2 switches on a handset and you can actually pulse it manually from the up switch and the down switch for different currents, which is quite odd. On this one with a foot pedal, it doesn't really matter with that. You can leave that. Remote control, which is a foot pedal, you can have linear, logarithmic. I leave mine on linear. You can have it start program, end program, obviously. You know what I mean, we can leave them on. I'll tell you in a minute, the start and stop as well, we need to adjust that, but you can get to that from another menu, because as long as the foot pedal's operated you won't get Spotmatic, and I'll explain that in a second. Cooling unit, this is quite handy because I can have my torch cooling auto, so you can turn the cooler off, blah blah blah. I have mine auto, so when I start welding the cooler kicks up. After 2 minutes the cooler will knock off. You can turn that off if you just put a CK9 in. It doesn't really matter. Like this one here, that's turned off down there because that's just got that's air cooled. So I'll have one for all the Spotmatic settings, everything else. The DC pulse, this one's usually the bigger one. It's for my thicker aluminium stuff. So obviously you can adjust the temperature, and also this is quite good as well, the air limit on the coolant flow, because what you can do, and I've gone through this on the Jasic stuff, is depending on my CK leads here, these are a fatter diameter than, example, the Binzel or the example Jasics, and what happens is when the coolant flow doesn't go, I have to go inside the cooler, if you remember one of the videos, and adjust all the switch settings. Don't need to do this on this. I can actually adjust the litres per minute to get the right, you know what I mean, for the error to come up, which is, I quite like that unit. I find 0.6 is the right. Anything amiss with that, my CK torch will let me know. I'm just fine for the CK20s. It's works a treat. Special parameters, last one. You can have a quick look at them, guys, so you know what you're getting into. What I quite like is a welding element adjustment. Really weird, actually, and it took me a way to sort it. This apparently is something to do with not only does the element flash with the sensors, but it also picks up the arc. Now, not example, not scientific, no way that understands, but this optional that you see here, or should I say, this ESAB A60 Now, when I first got that, I thought the element was faulty because it was just flashing me all the time, constant. After a second, it just come on. However, this sorted it. So if I set that welding 1 to 0, the ESABs flash. They flash no end. Once it's on to 1 or 2, nothing flashes because I think it recognises the HF. Besides the sensors, so that's obviously good to know. I think I went through about 4 screens morning, as I do, but that was the one that was the killer setting, so nice one for that one. Go back off for that one, and then that's the first one done. So alignment, that one, that's the resistance of the earth lead. Now when this unit come, not this one actually, so I don't know why, when this one come, obviously it was handmade. Obviously they must be hand produced because the sheet of paper that came with it had the engineer's signature on that he tested everything, and he tested it with so you get 230 amp. They obviously must test the earth lead with the resistance and everything he put down in pen and paper, what they actually measured, which were quite good. Job manager, self-explanatory. You got your 5 jobs and you can save stuff to USB, so there's an awful lot on USB. A ton of it. Connectivity, this is a new one, guys, that if you've got the unit older than about 3 weeks ago, you won't have this connectivity there. You can put them on this machine because I think the updates on the website to the 1.08, that is because on this RTG foot pedal they've just released one, I think it's due out in November, the Bluetooth model, so this will connect to the Bluetooth pedal. Now I've already asked, it's not really out that. I think the ship, or should I say EWM have told me it's mid-November. So in due time, we'll probably have one of those and we'll give it a whirl. The X button is to do with here. You can lock the machine down with like a little key fob, stuff like that, so other people can't use it. You've got your service, you've got your contact number, screenshot, advanced settings, stuff like that. You can set the fuse when the fuse blows, stuff like that. In system information, and again, running time. So let's have a quick. So obviously there's been no errors on the machine, which will store there. You've got warnings, there's been no warnings. Running time, now what you can do on here, if you can have a look, it's been operating at 86, because I do a lot of obviously demo stuff on here, obviously going through, because again we've been on here 26 minutes. That monitors how long it's been turned on. You can reset those, but obviously if guys, it is worth noting that I believe only EWM can reset them if they can. So if you're buying one of these second hand and someone says it's brand new, yeah, that's the overall arc time. You can't reset the bottom two, so you'll get an idea if they're telling the truth or not, to be fair. So that's what they're for. You've got system components, that will tell you all what the build versions are and this, that and the other. Now it might tell me actually, oh yeah, 1.08, so it'll update it the other day. We're most now I think at 1.07. And then we've got your temperatures, you can monitor them if you wish. Tells you everything about them. And then there's your sensors cooler, which it's off at coolant flow, it's off at the moment. That's that. And we're back on the settings now, guys. I'll quickly just go through a little bit around and bore you to death everything else, because we'll do welding and obviously on a part 2. This is just showing you what you actually get obviously with the Tetrix. Now menu, you got DC, you got tick setting up there, Spotmatic up there, so obviously these 4 buttons correspond to each corner. Dead easy. And obviously you've got your push button there, you've got your home button, you've got your back button, menu, and you've got your gas test up there, your 5 jobs, and then your menu there. So obviously top corner there. We're TIG DC, TIG AC, we'll go through these a little bit in a minute. And then obviously bottom, now like I was saying before, we've got 2T, but your Spotmatic and your Spot Out 40 are turned off because we've got the pedal turned on. So what we need to do for that is, if we go to, if you look at the cogs here, yeah, the quickest way of doing it. So if I click on the top right there, go into remote control, click on remote control, start stop, because we don't want it to be a variable if it's a spot. So we turn that back to use the pedal as a switch. Go back. Now our Spotmatic is active, and the Spotmatic that's kind of what you get on Spotmatic, and it's pretty good actually, because there's two settings on the Spotmatic. You can either set it automatically or you can set it with the pedal. What that means is every time you hover your torch switch over the job piece and press the pedal, it will then blast at whatever you pretty much want here. I'll be honest with you, on that one that's set up, that's probably better at about 500 milliseconds, at half a second, at about 130 amp. You need it a lot hotter than what you would. I found that out for sure. Now what you can do with these, like I say, automatic, you can take it spontaneous, where as soon as you touch your torch tip on the table, lift off, it'll blow. Torch tip to blow, so you don't even need to do the pedal. So you can tack a 6 foot sheet. I can pretty much tack a 6 foot sheet using this quicker than what I can with a MIG, if you use it that method. So that's what your Spotmatic is. So, but I'll demonstrate that again, because all the Spotmatic is set up on that air-cooled really. So if we go back to the cog on here, go back onto the remote control, back off to that. And now it should be greyed out again. Correct, it's greyed out. Now we've got obviously DC TIG, and we've got the pulsar. We'll go through just before the video ends, because I don't want to like spend a ton of it just yapping away. But I'll just show you some of the settings, what it gives you an idea, especially aluminium, which is pretty cool. So if we go to AC, now this side picture here, that's generally my aluminium settings. That now you can have that block laid on. I'll show you in a minute, because it asks you whether you want it on the screen or off the screen. So if we go through the aluminium stuff, AC settings, here we go. So this gives you pictures, guys. So if I go to 120 hertz, now what you can have on here, now you got the waveform, which is quite good, because you can advanced. Now what you can do in advanced, you can split the waveform, so you can have a square at the top and triangle at the bottom, and vice versa. You can create your own waveform, which is quite good. I think last time I was welding, I think I was on, well, obviously the square, I've not adjusted it. That seems to be 120 hertz, and the balance, which is quite cool, which gives you pictures, guys. So if I adjust, you can see the cleaning action going down, and then what you can do, you can see the tungsten as well. It will show you the picture how it will ball. So again, usually 65-60, but you can see we got to mega cleaning, and you've got the ball. So it gives you pictures, guys, to give you a bit of a, do you know what I mean, bit of a clue, which I think again's ace on it. Now again, secure to window. Now if I click that off, which I'm not going to click it off, that will go off. So it leaves with it all the time, and that happens obviously with the pulse as well. So again, we'll go to example, go back to DC, and then we've got the pulse at the bottom. Now again, if we go to pulse, we go through the pulse settings. Pulse settings. So we've got options here, guys. We've got average, thermal, or automatic. I like the average. It kind of works it out for you, which is really good. If you're starting out, I prefer thermal on mine. What that means is you can set individually, and it will tell you the average ampere anyway. So my main current, obviously, for example, 90%. The secondary current again works it out. It's 50%, 45 amp, and then we've got my pulse time. So it's actually lit a second, because it's not been set up these. Usually I'd have that at about 0.6 and my pause time at about 0.3, but you can adjust again. If I click my pause time on there, so as you can see, pause time, you'd have pause time is about 0.4. So that it's hardly pausing, then it's mainly on, and you can have it vice versa. So you can really tune them in, and then overall that will give you the average amp pretty much that it's going to put the part to. So it gives you a better understanding rather than use loads and loads of like practice sheets. And that's pretty much all the settings, guys. Yeah, for the Tetrix. So it looks, so turn that off. So all the people that was asking stuff like that, again, they're just my basic, you know what I mean, basic settings. That's USB tag over there. On the back, you've got a few ports on the back. I mean, obviously I can't spin this around, bit of a ball ache to spin this around. But you've got your 19-pin pedal. You've got a smaller one, and you've got like an RS232, which will connect it to a PC. Now, this is how they come standard. You've got a nice plastic lid, and an add-on, which I'm just waiting for that to come actually, is this here. So you take that off, and then you unscrew the 2 4 screws here. This thick plastic perspex keeps all the panel, not just, can you see all these are bare, this protects all the panel here, but you can change the buttons with a glove on. And then obviously on the front, if you wish to just use a normal 2-channel plug, which you can, which we'll use on the front connection, so you can have an on and off with a double switch if you will. And then normal, I mean, I have that connection there, guys, on that one, because obviously I swap between different welders, and that's the Urkel unit. Nothing to that other than it's connection internal, and again the cooler's a ton of money. That's my mobile. That's going to be the mobile setup for mobile aluminium stuff, which is going to take it, which obviously you can see that there, that's the connection there, which is mainly on and off. So anything to do with pulse and stuff like that, I don't tend to not use a pedal. So that does one job, that kind of does another one. So that's the Tetrix, guys, and the menu, and that's what pretty much what you get. Symbols in the bottom corner there, you got your Bluetooth in that corner, your foot pedal in that, and that's it, guys. Any questions, obviously please ask. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a section of videos. I'm going to do a bit of welding with it on the alley and vice versa. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you again. Any questions, please let me know.